Well, hope everybody's doing well today. If you're listening to these notes, today we're going to be talking about volume of prisms and specifically cylinders. Now, these things aren't too bad, and I promise you that volume is actually pretty much easier than the surface area. The formulas are a little bit simpler, and when you're doing combinations of different shapes, it's easier to figure that stuff out too. First thing that you've got to know, what is volume? Simply put, it's how much space an object takes up. So obviously, the bigger the volume, the bigger the space, the more volume it has. Pretty sure that didn't make any sense, but the bigger the object, the more volume. So I would have much more volume than somebody who's tiny, like Natasha or Shania or something like that. Another way to think of it is how much does it take to fill up an object? So, when you're buying like a soda or something from the store, you know that a smaller bottle, like a 16 ounce, which is a normal bottle of Coke or something like that, it's way less than one of the big bottles, has less volume than a 2 liter. So, just as an example, literally, the amount of water it took to fill up this cube is basically the volume that it has. Volume is measured in many different things, but just so you know, these units are cubic because in volume there are 3 dimensions: length, width, and height. So you'll see me writing things like feet cubed, which means cubic feet, or centimeters cubed. In the store, you'll see different things of volume, like fluid ounces. This is the one that always confuses me the most because ounces can be volume, but ounces could also be weight, and liters, and everything, milliliters, kiloliters, stuff like that. So, in general, what's going on with volume is that we're looking at a slice of something. So this, as you know, is just one flat surface, so you would find its area. You would find it's 10 by 10, so this has an area of 10. Now, if you think about it this way, volume is if you take that area of these 10 by 10, which is 100 little squares, right? But now you're stacking up more slices. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more slices. You're taking this 100, which was one slice, and timesing it by 10, which gives you how many total little cubes there are, which will be 1,000. So once again, like this would have an area of 10 by 10. The volume of this, if there were 2 slices, would be 100 times 2, because that's how many slices there are. So in general, when you're finding volume of a prism, you're looking for the area of the base and this is what I would call one slice of it, and you're going to multiply that by its lateral height, which is how many slices it has. I don't think I zoomed in. And that's really it. So when you're doing a volume, for the most part, you're just going to multiply a bunch of things. And then you're going to get your answer, and you're going to be like, whoa, that was way easier than trying to find some of the surface area of these things. So for example, if I said this was 8 inches, 10 inches, and 6 inches, all you would have to do is find out how many little boxes there are on this bottom slice, which you would just do the normal area formula for, 8 times 10. That's the one slice on the bottom. And then you're going to multiply by how many slices there are. 6. And you're going to get 480 inches cubed, which literally means if I cut out these little cubes, there would be 480 of them total. And that's it. So for a rectangular prism, finding volumes is as simple as length times width times height. And then you're done. Obviously, I never leave it just quite that simple, so I can give you different shapes. But for the most part, you're just going to do the same thing. So if I gave you a trapezoidal prism, I thought I put this pen away, but obviously I've grabbed it again. I'm not very smart sometimes. Alright, so for something like this, I'd have to give you more information because you have to know the formula for the area of a trapezoid was base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. So if this was 8 centimeters, this was 12 centimeters, this was 10 centimeters, and this is 6 centimeters. You would just plug in that formula, which was base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. That's one slice in the front times how many different slices there are. 6. 8 plus 12 is 20. 20 times 10 is 200. 200 divided by 2 is 100. And 100 times 6 is 600 centimeters cubed. Alrighty. So cylinder, it's basically the 100% exact same thing. It's just going to be one slice times its lateral height. Now hopefully you remember the area of the circle, which is the base, is r squared pi. And this would be the height. So simply for a volume of a cylinder, you're going to do r squared pi times h. And I like to just rewrite this because the commutative property says you can move things around when you're multiplying. R squared h pi. So if I gave you a cylinder that looked like this and said this is 7 inches and this is 13 inches, in a calculator you would simply just put 7 squared times 13 times pi. And that's going to give you something that I have no idea of because I do not know what 49 times 13 is. But my computer does. 637 pi, which equals 2001.2 inches cubed. That simply is all you have to do for volume. Now, I can give you some more complicated shapes, and you're going to have to do that on your homework, but it shouldn't be too bad. One other thing I could do is try to do this backwards. So I could say something like the volume of a cylinder equals to, I don't know, this is where I'd be like, yo, Matthew, choose a number between 100 and 700. And you'd probably say something weird. Actually, I know exactly what you'd say, but I won't do that. And I'll say 419 meters cubed. So if that's the volume, and I want to know, and I tell you the radius equals 12 meters, what is the height? So to do something like that, you just plug in this formula here, r squared, so you put 12 squared, times height, which we don't know, so we'll leave it height, pi equals 419. Now, I'm just going to divide by everything that's not h, and I know that 12 squared is 144, so I'm going to divide by 144 pi, so those cancel out. 144 pi. Remember, if you're doing this in a calculator, you've got to put that 144 pi into the parentheses or it's not going to work at all. And then hopefully you'll get an answer of something very, very small, apparently. 0.93 meters. Which makes sense if you think about it. 144 times pi is basically what is 144 times 3. And 144 times 3 is 432. So this has to be smaller than 1. That is basically all you're going to have to do for volume for this section. Now, at some point we're going to have to start combining things, but we'll do that next time.